Okay, welcome to my kitchen. This is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Today I would like to demonstrate to you how to cook a 3-course dinner for 4 people from scratch using fresh and raw ingredients. At the same time, I want to demonstrate to you how to use my cooking system with prep in advance that you can create meals that will meet different nutritional needs. In this case, I am going to cook a meal that with a high protein diet requirement. Now, many people might need a high protein diet because of the physical activity that they involve in, such as bodybuilders, and for some other reasons. I want to show you that how using my cooking system, it is possible to cook meals that will meet different nutritional requirements. In this case, in addition to the need for a high protein diet, I also include 8 different kinds of vegetables that will meet the need for vitamins and micronutrients for a good nutritional diet. It is important to keep in mind is that home cooking has the advantage, allow you to control how you cook your meal in the case not only for taste but also for nutritional requirements. So I'm going to cook this meal in real time to show you how it is done. So let's get going and see how it works. I cook this meal in a 13-inch cast iron wok, and the wok is made by Chicago brick oven. The wok is well seasoned before I start using it. The first dish I cook is a teriyaki chicken with soybean and carrot. First of all, I apologize that I missed the first 30 seconds of this video because I forgot to turn on the camera. Now, what I show here is that I first saute some garlic as I normally do, and then I saute some carrots, which I stir fry for about 30 seconds before I add the chicken. As you can tell, the chicken is cooking very well, and this chicken is prepped in advance, and I freeze them in the plastic Ziploc bag as I have shown you earlier in about 8 ounces, and I can thaw them out very quickly. So here I have about 1 pound of chickens. After I stir fry them for a little while, they are probably, I would say, about maybe 60-70% done. I start to add some oyster sauce to add flavor to the chicken. I then next add the edamame, and I use the edamame to increase the protein content of this dish. I add the edamame directly from the freezer. The edamame is already cooked, so you don't need to thaw them out, and so it is just enough to add directly to the chicken, and it will be warmed up by the chicken and mix it right into the chicken. So this makes it very convenient and to add the edamame without have to thaw them out. Now the chicken is still not quite totally cooked, as you can see here. I'm trying to be careful not to overcook the chicken because I like the chicken to be firm but not overcooked into a leathery texture. I then next add dark soy sauce. I use the dark soy sauce because it has a smoked flavor and also it adds color to the dish. So I stir fry now, stir in the dark soy sauce into the chicken, and you can tell that it starts to change the color of the dish. In fact, the edamame take on a darker color, so is the carrot as well. Next, I add some hoisin sauce to give some sweetness to this dish. Hoisin sauce is not necessary, but I do like to have that kind of fruity flavor. After all add this, you can see that it generates a lot of fluid because of the saltiness of this in the fluid around it, and it draws the moisture from the chicken. So I sprinkle some cornstarch over it, and as you can tell, after stirring for a while, the dish starts to thicken. The last step is for adding the sugar to give that sweetness to the dish. I've discovered that I add the best thing is to add the sugar last, just before you're ready to finish the dish, because if you add it too early, the sugar become caramelized and will stick to the wok and cause a mess in the wok, and it requires extensive cleaning. This way, you have the flavor, but without having the sugar to become concentrated. As you can see now, the dish is ready, and I then put it into my serving dish, and you can see the sauce has thickened. Of course, I've already turned off the heat because it's a cast iron wok. Things are still cooking, so it is important that you remove the content as quickly as you can, before it burn into the wok. So as you can see, stir fry is a very efficient technique. Here I have a teriyaki chicken dish with edamame, and all is being done in about 5 to 6 minutes. I added edamame to increase the protein content of the dish. At the same time, I also want to add the plant-based aspect of this diet. So as you can see, the wok really have no sticking at all, and after I scoop as much as I possibly can from the chicken dish, I'm now ready to cook the next dish. Again, I start out with some canola oil to saute some garlic, and the next dish I'm going to cook is a tofu dish with different type of vegetables. Tofu has a rich source of protein, and the use of tofu in this particular meal is for the purpose of increasing the protein content of this particular meal. So I start by sauteing 1 tablespoon of garlic in canola oil, like I usually do, and then I add about 1 cup of carrot. Again, I usually start out with carrot because when carrot fry in oil, it generates some wonderful flavor molecules, and it gives the kind of sweetness to the dish, which I really enjoy. As you can see, is that I don't need to wash the wok, because the seasoning actually remain in the wok, actually add to the flavor. So now I add just a little bit of Brussels sprouts, and then I also add about maybe a cup of cauliflower, and followed by a cup of yellow squash, and then I give them a nice stir fry, and I follow by maybe half cup of purple cabbage. Right now I have added I have included 5 different kind of vegetables, and so not only it gives a nice color to the dish, but at the same time it provides good nutritional values, as each vegetable contributes different vitamins as well as micronutrients that we need in our diet in order for it to be nutritional. So finally I add another cup of cauliflower to further increase the diversity, and I add a bit more oil just to make sure that all the vegetables are properly coated with oil. This step is important because the frying step generates flavor molecules in the vegetable. In some way you can view that this is very similar to grilling. The only difference is that I use very little oil, and as you can see that it starts to burn slightly at the edge of the vegetable, and that's at the time you know that you are ready to add water to steam the vegetables. So the next step is that I will add water into the wok, and the water will now steam the vegetable, and you can steam it as long as you find the texture is to your desire. Once I add water, you can see it generate lots of steam, and this step is important. The most critical aspect is that make sure that you always have some fluid at the bottom of the wok, so that they do not get dry and burning the vegetable there. Otherwise, you can steam it as long as you want to the texture as you see fit. As you can see, the fluid start to turn slightly color because of the actually the seasoning that I picked up from the last dish. It really doesn't matter, and you don't need to wash the dish because it actually adds flavor to this dish. I think this is probably the best way for cooking vegetables because first of all you fry it and to give it the flavor molecule that's generated when it's fried in oil, and then you can control the texture of the vegetable. You can add water as you see fit, and if you want the vegetable to be softer, then you steam it a little bit longer. And personally, I like the vegetable more crisp, so I usually do not steam it too long. As you can see, the wok is performing very well. It's heated up beautifully, generating lots of steam, and I have no problem, in fact, heating up this wok. The next step is that I'm adding my seasoning. In here, I add a mixture of seasoning that I use, including mushroom seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, ginger powder, some paprika, and a little bit of cumin. You can find out more about how I use my seasoning in some other video that I have created to describe the way how I use my seasoning. So now you can start to see the color of the fluid start to turn dark because of the paprika and the cumin that I added to it. And now the vegetable take on a really beautiful color. As you can see, at this point, there's still fluid in there. As long as there's fluid in there, you are doing okay. But I'm trying to cook down the fluid as much as possible so that I can concentrate the flavor onto the vegetable. So the next step, which I'm going to, is to add the tofu. I use the soft tofu, and I cut them up into cubes. And so now I'm just about ready to add the tofu. I just add a little bit more fluid, and so to give it a little bit more moisture before I add the tofu. The tofu this is a soft tofu, and I use different type of tofu. I like this one soft because it really mixes well with the sauce that are created by the vegetable, and it gives a very nice texture. So at this point, the tofu doesn't need to cook too long, and I try not to stir the tofu too rigorously because it's just a soft tofu and it might break up too much. And some people like to break up the tofu almost completely, but I like the tofu more in one piece. So the last but not the least, I add some sriracha sauce, and I just pour the sriracha sauce right over it, and then I give it a quick mix to get the sauce evenly distributed. Now the dish is ready to be served. Oops, not so fast. I finally, I decided to add a little bit oyster sauce to give it some extra flavor. So now it is ready to be served. So this is an example that how you could manipulate your ingredients to generate different type of nutritional pattern or profile that you would like. And the tofu obviously adds the protein content to this meal. So lastly, I add some cornstarch to thicken the sauce. This actually will coat the tofu better and the vegetable and make the dish has a smoother taste. I love this dish. It really do extremely well with rice, and you mix it with rice, it gives that nice smooth texture to the rice, and I enjoy that very much. Okay, so finally I think I'm ready to find myself a plate and to put this dish onto the plate. This dish also very quick. It takes a little bit longer to cook than the chicken because I need to steam the vegetable to the texture that I like. But overall, it takes about less than 8 minutes to cook this dish. This is an excellent vegetarian dish because that it not only provides lots of proteins that coming from the tofu, but it also has lots of vegetables that provide vitamins and micronutrients that we will need in a good diet. It is a balanced dish, and I really enjoyed it very much. So I try to clean up the wok as much as I can, use the wok spatula to scrape off whatever the remaining vegetables that are left in the wok. But it's not critical at this point really to clean it thoroughly, again, because whatever left will actually add to the flavor of the next dish. So the next dish I'm going to cook is a egg, tomato, and mushroom dish. Like I said, I just cook right in the same wok. Again, I start out with some canola oil, and I will saute 1 tablespoon of garlic in it. This dish cooked very quickly, and again, the reason I included egg in this particular menu is because egg provide a wonderful source of protein. So as you can see, the next step is that for me to saute some garlic. Again, I do not wash the wok, and I just try to clean up as much as I could. And after I saute the garlic, I put in here 6 eggs. And this egg dish, which I have shown you before, is kind of like a combination between an egg omelette and scrambled egg. So in the beginning, I just let the egg to cook for a little while, and I add seasoning. Start out with mushroom seasoning, followed by some paprika and onion powder, ginger powder, and garlic powder to give egg some flavor. Now, you don't need to add any of this if you don't like them, but I would normally add onion powder and ginger powder and garlic powder. So then I just use the spatula to push the egg basically inwards and allow the egg to be fried at the bottom, and so that the raw egg will flow into the bottom, and then the egg that has been already cooked will rise to the surface. I will keep doing that. As you can see now, the egg, sometimes the wok could stick a little bit, but in this case it wasn't too bad. So now the next step is I add the portobello mushroom. I do not want to cook the portobello mushroom too much because I wanted to have still have some texture. The tomato I use actually are canned tomato. They are stewed tomatoes. This is winter time, so it's hard to get really good fresh tomato, and the stewed tomato actually work reasonably well. So I keep pushing the egg off the bottom of the wok, and I keep folding it around the mushroom and the tomato. Again, I'm cooking them very lightly so that I can retain the texture of particularly the portobello mushroom. So finally, I put some green scallions over it, and now the egg is almost ready. So I think I'm looking for a serving dish right now to put it in. That's why you see me walk away. As soon as I come back, you will notice that now I'm start to scooping the egg from the bottom from the wok and put it into the serving dish. The ideal texture of this dish is that you want the egg that's still slightly soft. The softness of the egg provides this wonderful coating over the mushroom, and the tomato gives it that smoothness, which is really what makes this dish delicious. So now you have it. We have 3 dishes that rich in protein in less than 20 minutes. If you'd like to see more recipes, cooking tips, and benefits of my cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Wok with Tak, by pressing the subscribe button below. Thank you for watching. See you next time.